computer. Cool, so it's recording now. So welcome everyone who's watching this and who isn't able to be here live. We've got the lovely, beautiful Elaine. And we've got the wonderful, fantastic Duncan. And we're here today to work on goal setting. Cool. So I want to keep this short so that you actually watch the video, because if you're anything like me, I get bored when videos are too long when I'm watching them. And we don't need it to be long, but so before we start, I really need you to have your goals ready. Duncan, Elaine, and I, we just had a conversation before I hit record where we made sure our goals were clear. So if you haven't got your goal clear, pause this. And I want you to write down what your goal is. What does it look like? And be really specific. Make it SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound, and just have that really clear. And when you've got your goal, come back. Make it a big goal as well. Now, don't just be like, oh, I want to make sausages for breakfast tomorrow. Right? Make it rather, I want to own a sausage farm. Cool. So once you've got your goal, we're going to start just before we actually do the activity. I want to start with just a little Ericksonian kind of future pacing. So if you guys would like to close your eyes for a moment. And I know you're all really, really, really good at hypnosis, so it's going to be really easy for you. And I want you just to imagine that you're floating up high above yourself and you're looking down. I want you to see yourself in your present situation. And just while you're up there, you may as well throw down some light and love down on yourself. Surround yourself with beautiful white healing light or whatever color you need right now. And then I want you to fly up really, really high into the sky. And I want you to fly all the way into the future. All the way until you're above a time when you've already reached your goal. You're above a time when you've already reached your goal. And I want you to look down and just notice what you see. You can go down a bit closer. What do you see? How do you look? What behaviors do you see yourself doing when you've already reached your goal? What are people saying to you? How are they congratulating you? How are they interacting with you when you've already reached your goal? What kind of things are you doing? Just notice that. Now move on down into the body. Step into the body of the you that's already reached your goal. Just notice how it's different. How your shoulders feel, how your chest feels. What does it feel like when you've already reached your goal? How do you feel in your stomach? And from this place, I want you to look back, either from here or by floating above. Look back and just review all the steps you took along the way to reach this goal. All the little things that you did. When you're ready, just relax in this future. Enjoy all the feelings. Just keep noticing all the little things you did. And whenever you're ready, I want you to bring that knowledge and bring all the really good feelings inside your body that you feel when you've already reached your goal and fly back towards today. Fly back towards the present. And you're just going to store all those learnings immediately in front of the present. Store them there. And then float back up. Go above the present and look down and see yourself. Send down whichever healing light, whatever sounds you might need that might motivate you or make you feel really good. Perhaps a song. And then when you're ready, float down back into your body. Feel yourself orientating back into your own body, feeling different, feeling really positive, really motivated. When you're ready, just open those eyes. So by now, you should have a bit of a feeling of what that looks like to reach your goal. How about you guys that are here, Duncan and Elaine?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool, nice. And we're going to use that. So now what we're going to do is quite a practical thing, and it's from Christine's life coaching course. So if you've never done the life coaching course, I highly recommend it. It gives you lots of these little tools. Today we're going to do domino goals. And it's just a really easy way to break down big goals into manageable chunks. So we've started off with a specific goal, and I'm going to share my screen and give you an example. This one, share. So can you guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So I've just made this little template here, and you can just draw this on a paper. Each goal is a domino. And as you might be able to see, if goal 1 is hit, you can imagine it falling into goal 2 and goal 3 and goal 4 and so on. Make sense?
Yes.
And the idea is that if we put our final goal under step 5 as the 5th domino, then we break our goal down into 5 chunks. It could be 4 or 3 chunks, it doesn't matter. But the idea is that if it's a manageable chunk, that each time you reach a goal, it motivates you for the next one. One way that to kind of illustrate this is, if you ever read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki,
Mm-hmm.
and he explains about finances and educates people that maybe didn't know how to budget or how to get ahead with money in life. And I highly recommend it. It's really, really good reading. One of the things that he says to do is, if you have debt, which a lot of people do, most people think, oh, I'll consolidate that debt. I'll make it into one payment. But what happens is that stretches out the debt over a long time, and it makes it really, really easy to get more debt because they're now managing their money better. He says, instead of consolidating your debt, you should put all your energy into the smallest debt. So make the minimum payment on your biggest debts, and only on the smallest debt, pay as much as you can. And then what happens is, goal 1 would be paying off your smallest debt. Once that's paid, there's a real sense of accomplishment. You get a dopamine hit. There's a, yes, we've got rid of a debt. Then all the money that you were paying on the smallest debt now moves to the next smallest debt. And we're not even worrying about which is the highest interest rate. We're worrying about which is the next smallest, because then it's, the goal's in sight. If we try and pay off the biggest debt first, that's going to take the longest time. That's like, oh, I'll never get out of debt. But if you start with the smallest one and then move on to the next smallest, it helps you to reach goal 2, which is get rid of the second smallest. By the time you get to goal 3, you've got all the money that you were originally paying to debt 3 plus debt 1 and 2 all combined. And it's kind of snowballs. Can you get the idea?
Yeah.
Until finally all that money is just chewing up the last debt. And it really motivates people to really pay as much as they can and to really get out of debt quickly. So that's a kind of way that he suggests you domino yourself out of debt. That's one example. What I want you to do now, and you can pause this if you want more time at home, or if you want to come back to it, the guys that are here, I want you to put your goal, your final goal, in step 5. So just type it on in there. So I might put something in here like, I don't know, become fluent in Hindi. That's boring. Let's do President of Mars. That's better. And once you've done it, and like we did with the kind of Ericksonian timeliney thing, future-based thing, we want to kind of go back and break it into 2 or 3 steps. So you don't have to do 5 steps, but you can go backwards and kind of go through the steps that you might try to hit along the way. And I'm typing in some here. You guys can do your own. So to be president of Mars, step 4 might be move to Mars. Step 3 might be train to be an astronaut. Step 2 might be save money and move to USA, because probably I can't be an astronaut in New Zealand. And step 1 might be get a big salary. Now, I'm wondering if you guys are getting the idea of how to break it up.
Yep, I've done it.
Done it. I'm going to show you this other page that I've done for those of you that are wanting to kind of get busy in your clinic. I've done another one where the final goal is 50,000 per year earned in clinic. Mm-hmm. So that's assuming that you may earn money from other places, or that's how much you want to, that's how many clients you want to see. Step 4 might just be 40K per year. It's just a step along the way. Step 3 might be 30K. But on step 3 also, the goal there is, excuse me, I'm going to leave another job that I might have. Mm-hmm. Because I know that if I want to earn any more than 30K, I have to be full-time as a hypnotherapist. And then 20K and 10K. So I've just kept it real simple there as a way of breaking up the goal. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It doesn't have to be too complicated. Duncan, do you want a little bit more time?
Yes, I'm just thinking of how to break this one down into sequential bits like that. That's nice because it just follows a numerical sequence. Yeah, that's cool. So I think I've got an idea of how to put those bits together. Right.
It's good working backwards.
Working backwards is a really good way to do it.
And
that's how I recommend that you try. Yeah. I've typed into the bar celebrate because I think when you reach each goal, it's good to celebrate in some way. You don't have to spend money, but you can. Like, acknowledge that you've reached the steps. Gives you dopamine, helps you picture reaching the goal. And instead of breaking it down like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, you could do it in a different way. Like step 4, 5 could instead be support myself through clinic. You know, you might take away the 50K completely, like that. Mm-hmm. The 40K per year might be, what could that be instead? It might be afford rent, bills, spending, and holiday through clinic. So it makes it just a little bit more emotional. Step 3 might be leave other job because it's not needed. Does that make sense? Doing it that way? So, you know, you can do both. You can do the money and then underneath what that looks like. So if we go back to Mars, what we want to do is focus. I'll just double check. Sorry, Duncan, do you have 5 there yet, or three or 4 steps yet?
I've got a bunch of sorting out. I've got a whole lot of stuff that I'll need to sort down and then put into 5 because mine suddenly has lots of steps.
Cool. So I'll let you work on that, and of course you can watch this back and pause it to do that.
Cool. Yeah.
And moving on, and I want to be, this has to be a clear difference between the goal steps and the actions. So when we think of moving to Mars, the actions, if I want to get a big salary that gives me money to move to the USA and so on and so on and so on, because I want to be president of Mars, actions in step 1 might be apply for jobs. Does that make sense? Create a CV.
Mm-hmm.
If we go to the thinking about 50K in a clinic, actions in step 1 might be, so step 1 might be open a clinic. So I've changed it to that and as a step 1 goal. Actions might be find a space, buy a lazy boy. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Step 2 in this version of it, I want 15,000 per year. So the actions between opening the clinic and reaching goal 2, I've put do a marketing course, complete diploma, make a budget, complete website, order business cards. And so for each gap in between the goals, you want specific actions that are going to help you to reach just that next goal. Now you'll probably want to take half an hour to do that or so, but I'll give you a few minutes just now. And then you might need to watch this back or pause this if you're watching it. I'm just gonna fill one in while you guys are doing that so you can get the idea as well.
I've done it.
Done it? Excellent.
I'm going down a rabbit hole there. It's fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, politic, make new. So I've just started filling in along the way this example of move to Mars. So the actions to get a big salary were all around finding a job. Then I might celebrate that with a night out in town and dinner. Then goal 2 was to save money and move to USA. Now, obviously I would make it specific. I might say save 100,000, whatever it is. So the actions, open high interest saving account, open some bonus bonds, move into cheap accommodation, become vegan to save money. So these are the kind of things that I might do. And then celebrate, have a big going away party when I move to USA. Then, because being president of Mars, it seems unachievable, right? It's like, that's impossible. But if we break it down.
That's clearly Elon Musk's thing, right?
Well, that's why between step 3 and step 4, I've got befriend Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So I've got that. He's definitely, that's what he wants to do. And it might, between step 4 and 5, I might need to have a coup. So make a new political organization and take over Elon Musk in order to become president of Mars. So, but let's look at in relationship to a clinic. So I showed this already. So between step 1 and 2, doing all this marketing. Between step 2 and 3, it might be build referral network. Might be do 2 hours marketing per day. And obviously you can just continue to, make your thing neater by playing with it. And so on and so on. I mean, if you're focusing on a goal as specific as building a clinic, this whole thing is going to be marketing based, isn't it? There might be all these other little projects that you do to drive people to it. Like I was speaking to my trainer today, so he's trying to get an online business going with the gym, and so he's talking about Instagram and what he can do, and we're having this great conversation about how he could look up recipes that are really healthy. It doesn't have to be his; it could be somebody else's recipe that's really healthy and really nice, and he can cook it, and then he can talk about it on Instagram, just every day, talk about whatever he's made that's really healthy, and then how that can drive traffic to his website. So people, they might be interested in his food, but they end up booking him as a trainer. So that kind of thing. So whatever marketing, we did that a couple of weeks ago, and you might do a marketing course, but whatever marketing you do, this is going to be chock full of marketing. If it's not as simple as building a clinic, if it's something completely different, then obviously you're going to have to completely rejig this. But this is something that you can spend a lot of time working on. It's going to be really helpful. And because you're only ever focusing on a little bit at a time, that allows your brain to visualize reward really clearly. It's going to motivate you to actually do it. And then you're going to get the dopamine hits along the way that are going to help you learn that working on a goal piece by piece is working, and you're more likely to stay on the track to it. I've got one last example that I pre-prepared for you guys. It was my goal of becoming Pope. And just to give you one more example of how you can break it down. So you're like, because if you think, I'll take it away for a second. If you think becoming Pope, that's impossible, right? How can Daryl become Pope and President of Mars? But let's say I want to become Pope. Well, I start and I worked backwards. So becoming Pope was the final. What is the step before Pope? Well, the step before Pope isn't starting theology school. The step before Pope is I need to be Archbishop of New Zealand, at least, don't I? I need to be the head of a country. And before that, I'm going to need to be a bishop. So that's step 3. And before that, I'm going to need to be a priest. That's step 2. Before that, I'm going to actually need to study. So actions for step 1. So if I'm thinking, right, I'm not thinking about becoming Pope right now. I'm thinking I need to study. I need to start theology school. So I'm going to look at how I do that. I'm going to start going to the church, and I'm going to start reading the Bible, because I'm going to want to be ready for when I start this school. Now I've started theology school. And between then and becoming a priest, I'm going to need to complete my degree, haven't I? I'm going to need to enroll in the priest scheme. I don't know what that looks like, but obviously I'll research. How does one become a priest? I'm going to apply for jobs as a priest, and probably going to learn Latin as well. Maybe you do that theology school, maybe you don't, but I feel like that's going to help me become a priest. Then I want to become a bishop. So I'm going to research bishops. I'm going to, how do you get from a priest to a bishop? I'm going to spend time thinking about that once I'm a priest. I'm going to model excellence. So I'm going to look at bishops that have risen quickly and become bishops quickly, and I'm going to see what they did. What is it that those bishops did? And I'm going to copy that as a priest. I'm going to befriend powerful people, because I think you get a lot in this world through word of mouth. And I'm going to put on weight, because I've never met a skinny bishop. And then lastly, and then we go next one, become archbishop. Okay, I'm getting a bit silly here, but I've got things like hire a private detective to dig up dirt on other contenders to roll them out, send dirt to the newspapers, and do miracles so that people focus on me. And then I'm going to be Archbishop of New Zealand. And then from there, I'm going to just learn some more languages, because if you're going to be Pope, my understanding is that you need to speak a lot of different languages. And that's the way that you can reach out to more people. And I'll probably fill in more actions there. But yeah, that's how we become Pope. So if that was my lifelong dream, if becoming Pope was my lifelong dream, do you think it's at all possible that could be reached?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it that way. Whereas if we just set a goal, a smart goal of become Pope by 2052, it just seems so abstract, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So what I want you guys to do with your goals that you've got, whatever it is like really, really break it down. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The main point is to really be specific about what each stage is, working back. So start at the end and work backwards. Put how you're going to celebrate each step along the way, and then do the actions in between. There is your domino goals.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys think that you'll find that helpful?
Yes.
Cool. So,
Already, definitely.
sorry?
Yes, definitely. Already finding it helpful. Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant, brilliant. So I'm just going to stop the recording now. So for those of you who have been watching this and weren't able to make this call, I hope that you find it helpful, and I'll see you later.